Hey everyone, welcome to The Ritual, a podcast by Monsuri. I'm Maya, and joining me as always is Ray.
Hey, glad to be here.
So, if you're new here, this podcast is really just two people talking honestly about self care. Not the Instagram version of it, not the buy this face mask and you'll be fine version, the real version. What it actually takes to slow down, take care of yourself, and not feel guilty about it.
Which, if you're anything like most people we know, is harder than it sounds.
So much harder. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. For our very first episode, we're talking about why rest feels like cheating, why so many of us, especially women who are just constantly going, feel guilty the moment we actually stop.
It's one of those things nobody really talks about directly, but almost everyone feels.
Exactly. Okay, so I have to start with something that happened to me last week because I literally cannot stop thinking about it. I got home from work on Tuesday, pulled into the driveway, turned off the engine, and just sat there for like 22 minutes, not scrolling, not listening to anything, just sitting in the dark in my car, completely unable to make myself go inside. And the whole time I was sitting there, I felt this specific kind of guilty. Like dinner wasn't started, my inbox had 47 on red, the gym bag was still in the trunk from Monday, and I'm just sitting there doing nothing.
That's such a specific feeling, though. It's not even tired. It's like past tired. It's that thing where you've been running for so long that when you finally stop, your brain doesn't know what to do with the stillness.
Yes, exactly that. And what got me was the guilt came faster than the relief did. Like I wasn't even getting to enjoy the sitting there because I was already feeling bad about sitting there.
I had a version of that a few months ago, actually. I was making coffee in the morning, and I just stood at the kitchen counter and stared out the window for I don't know how long. And my first thought wasn't, oh, this is nice. It was, what am I forgetting right now?
Right. Like rest has become suspicious.
Like your own brain doesn't trust you to just stop.
And that's what I keep coming back to. Because I'm not a lazy person. I don't think the people listening to this are lazy people. I think somewhere along the way, rest started feeling like something we have to earn before we're allowed to have it. And I want to talk about why that is today, because I think it's genuinely messing with us.
Yeah, and I think it's worth saying that this isn't just a you thing or a me thing. This is like a widespread cultural thing that has a real explanation behind it.
Which you are going to tell us about.
Which I am going to tell you about, yeah. So there's a concept in Japanese philosophy called M-A, and it roughly translates to meaningful pause or intentional interval. And the reason I love this is because it's not about emptiness. It's not about doing nothing. It's about the space between things that gives everything else its meaning.
Like the silence between notes and music.
Exactly like that. And Japanese hot spring culture, onsen culture, is basically built around this idea. You go to an onsen not to be productive, not to check things off. You go specifically to be still on purpose. And that stillness is considered essential, not optional, not a treat, essential.
And that's actually where Monsuri comes from, right? That whole philosophy?
Yeah, the brand is rooted in that same Japanese approach to self-care. The idea that taking care of yourself isn't the reward you get after you've earned everything else. It's the foundation that makes everything else sustainable. And I think that reframe alone is honestly massive for a lot of people.
It is because I think most of us were raised with this very specific idea that rest is earned. Like you work hard, you finish your tasks, you check everything off the list, and then maybe you get to sit down.
Right. And the problem is the list never ends. So by that logic, you never actually get permission to stop.
Which is exactly how I've been living, and I don't think I even realized it until recently.
And it's not your fault. It's genuinely cultural. There's this whole productivity worship thing that's been building for decades, and it's made rest feel almost morally suspicious. Like, if you're not busy, you're not valuable.
Oh, that one hits. Because I genuinely feel more comfortable telling someone I'm exhausted than telling someone I spent the evening just doing nothing. Like exhausted gets sympathy, doing nothing gets judgment.
And that's exactly the trap. We've made busyness an identity, so rest feels like a threat to who we are.
Okay, so how do we actually get out of that?
Honestly, I think it starts with understanding the difference between rest and distraction, because I think people don't realize those are two completely different things. We've convinced ourselves that scrolling for an hour is rest, that watching 3 episodes until you fall asleep is rest, but it's not. It just delays the exhaustion.
Say more about that because I genuinely thought Netflix counted.
So your nervous system has a kind of threshold, right? And real rest, the kind that actually brings you back and resets you, requires 3 specific things: warm, still, and no new information coming in. That's it. Warm, still, nothing to process.
And scrolling is literally the opposite of all 3 of those things.
It's the opposite of all 3. You're stationary, but you're not still. Your brain is constantly processing new content, and the blue light from your phone is actively telling your body it's daytime. So you're lying down, but physiologically, you are not resting at all.
This is genuinely upsetting. I thought I was resting.
I know. A lot of people feel betrayed when they hear this. So what does actual rest look like then? Like, what counts? So this is where it gets interesting, because when you line up the 3 things, warm, still, no input, one thing keeps coming up, and it's been part of Japanese culture for centuries.
The bath.
The bath, because a bath hits all 3 at once. It's warm, which triggers your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest response, the opposite of fight or flight. It forces stillness because you literally can't do much else. And if you leave your phone outside the bathroom, there's genuinely no new information coming in. Your brain finally gets to just exist without processing anything.
When you put it that way, it sounds almost too simple.
Most things that actually work are kind of annoyingly simple.
And I think that's the thing nobody tells you going in. You don't just get a relaxing bath. You get this whole shift in how the rest of your evening feels.
Because you've created a boundary. And boundaries aren't just for other people. They're for yourself, too. Your own time, your own energy, your own body.
So if someone is listening to this right now, and they recognize themselves in any of this, like they have their own version of the driveway moment, what's the one thing you would tell them?
Stop waiting to earn it. That's really the whole thing. The guilt you feel about resting isn't a signal that you haven't done enough. It's a signal that you've been taught rest is optional. And it's not. It's infrastructure. You don't earn the right to take care of the only body and mind you have. You just do it.
Rest is infrastructure. I want that on a wall somewhere.
Go for it.
Because that's the reframe, right? It's not a reward, it's not a treat, it's not something you get to do when everything is finally finished. It's just part of how you function, like eating or sleeping.
And when you start treating it that way, the guilt actually does fade. Not overnight, but it fades. Because you're not doing something indulgent anymore. You're doing something necessary.
I noticed that. The first few times I did the bath ritual, I still felt a little guilty, like I should be doing something else. But after a few weeks, it just became part of the evening, and the guilt kind of stopped showing up.
That's exactly it. The ritual trains your brain out of the guilt over time. Consistency does more than any single act of rest ever could. And I think that's the part people skip. They try it once, it feels weird, and they think it didn't work.
Which is such a fair reaction, honestly, because the first time I did it, I didn't know what to do with myself. I kept thinking about what I should be doing instead.
Rest is genuinely a skill. And like any skill, you are bad at it before you get good at it. The discomfort at the beginning isn't a sign it's not working. It's a sign your nervous system is learning something new.
You're not broken if rest feels hard. You're just out of practice.
Exactly. And that's actually the most hopeful thing about all of this, because out of practice means you can get back in practice. It just takes a little time and a little consistency.
And a good bath soak, apparently.
And a good bath soak definitely helps.
Okay, I want to talk about something before we close out because I think it connects to everything we've been saying today. And that's the idea of permission. Like so much of what we've been talking about comes down to giving yourself permission to stop. And I think for a lot of women, especially, that permission is the hardest part, not the doing of it, the allowing of it.
That's such a good point, because the information is out there. People know that rest is good for them. They know they're tired. They know they need to slow down. But knowing it and giving yourself permission to actually do it are 2 completely different things.
So how do you get there? How do you actually give yourself that permission?
Honestly, I think you stop waiting for the permission to come from somewhere else. From finishing your to-do list, from getting approval, from earning it. And you just decide that your well-being is non-negotiable. not when everything is done. Now, as a baseline.
Your well-being is non-negotiable. That's such a different starting point than what most of us operate from.
It really is. And it sounds simple, but it's actually a pretty radical shift for a lot of people. Because we've been so conditioned to put ourselves last that putting ourselves anywhere else feels selfish.
And it's not selfish, it's just maintenance.
It's just maintenance. You cannot pour from an empty cup and all of that, but genuinely, the version of you that rests well is a better version in every other area of your life. Better at work, better in relationships, better at showing up for the people you love.
Rest makes you better at everything else, not worse.
Rest makes you better at everything else. Full stop.
Okay, we are wrapping up episode 1 of The Ritual, and honestly, I could not have asked for a better first conversation. This felt like exactly what this show is supposed to be.
Same. And I think we just scratched the surface today. There is so much more to get into.
So much more. And that's what this whole series is about. Every episode, we are going to take one thing that sounds simple on the surface, rest, self-care, slowing down, and actually go deep on it. The why behind it, the how behind it, and what it actually looks like in real life for real people who are busy and tired and doing their best.
No perfect wellness routines here, just honest conversations about what actually works.
Exactly. So if you want to try what we talked about today, Monsuri's Calm Bath Soak is linked below. That's the exact one I use. Start with one night this week. 15 minutes. Warm bath, no phone, candle if you have one. See how it feels to actually stop on purpose.
And if it feels uncomfortable the first time, just stick with it. Rest is a skill. You get better at it.
Now, we want to hear from you. Do you have your own version of the driveway moment? Is there a rest ritual that actually works for you? Or is there something about self-care you've always wondered about but never really got a straight answer on? Leave us a comment, send us a message, let us know. Because honestly, the best episodes are going to come from the conversations you start.
And if there's a topic you want us to cover in this series, we are genuinely open. Sleep, stress, ingredients, rituals, burnout, relationships, all of it is on the table.
Next episode, we are going deep on what actually happens to your body during a bath, the real science behind why warm water works the way it does. Rao has been waiting to talk about this one for a while.
I have a lot of thoughts about water temperature specifically.
He really does. So hit subscribe so you don't miss it, and we will see you in the next one.
Take care of yourselves.
Actually, take care of yourselves. That's the whole point of being here. See you next time.